right, so we're back on the break, back on breaking down, and a little change of plans. The GM will be on in a little while, but right now we have, I don't know if it's the former political leader of the PEP, the current political leader of the PEP. I hear he retired from politics, and then boom, he on the show this morning, and then I saw in a ticker tape on a newscast last night that you didn't retire from politics. So I really don't know what's going on. But now that I have him next to me, we'll find out. So Phillip Alexander is here. What's going on? Everything good?
In the hot seat again.
Nice, man. In the hot seat again.
In the squeaky hot seat this morning.
Oh, yeah, it's squeaky. Yeah, it's squeaking out here. So, morning to you.
Good morning to your loyal followers, listeners, and everybody on social media. Good morning.
Nice, brilliant. Now, I saw your social media live after the by-elections, and I say, but you're sounding like things didn't go good. And like you want to just drop the ball. And then going through social media and I hear you retire and Felicia Holder take over. You're retired or you're not retired?
Do you like my beard?
Of course.
I'm trying.
Well, beards are in, eh?
Well, exactly. But
yeah.
No, but this is just my beard that I'm on a break. So I was taking a little hiatus. So the different conflicting stories causing stress for our PRO, Janice, who is working the media to get them to understand that the party is simply, Felicia is holding on, she's acting as political leader, I have stepped aside, taking a break. And
right.
So now, because of all of this, I'm summoned to a party meeting this afternoon, and we're going to have to address this publicly again. The Progressive Empowerment Party has internal elections in September. All posts, our first internal elections, all posts are up. We didn't expect to have to contest a by-election. We redirected all our resources into that. We dealt with that. For an 18-month-old party, then that was fantastic.
Of course.
To be able to handle. I remember right after that election, watching one of your videos, and you were saying that the difference between you and me is you ain't running for nothing. So you don't have to have a filter.
Yeah.
And I thought back to a time when I didn't have to have a filter.
Right.
And you really make me miss those days, you know, when you could just say what you come out to say.
Right.
Because...
without backlash.
Well, you see, internally in the party, because it's a group of people, everything that you say now will affect some people positively, it might affect some people negatively. So everything that you say, but for people like us, for people like God, Christopher, and other activists in the public light, what we say affects the national narrative.
Right.
But my situation is different to yours and God's and others because I am in a political party. So now I have to be guided, even though I am still as vocal on issues, like the same issue that you're raising this morning.
Right.
So to set minds at ease, the party is still here, it is still strong, it is still growing forward, and I just taken a little break.
All right. No,
that's acceptable because it's been a tough 18 months. It's been 24/7. You've seen, I mean, you do live videos, so you could tell people what it takes to do a live video every night. You could tell people what that takes. And if you put on, now you do this every morning.
Yeah.
Right? And to be involved in the politics, to be at the level of the conversation we operate at, is to have a constant conversation running with everybody.
But everybody, yeah.
Everybody want to reach you, everybody want to talk to you, everybody want to give it their input, everybody want to give it their, blow their whistle, give it a message. So I am sure when you take a vacation, you just want to turn everything off.
Of course.
I was hoping to be able to get a little break like that. Hopefully after the meeting today, I could still get my little break.
Yeah, it is needed. Sometimes it is needed to get away, just for a couple of days.
All now I would be on that rest, you know, except this matter came up in the public space when Sunday, and it seems like a long time ago, but last week Sunday, so that would be 8 days ago, the Express ran a front page headline, Gary's the man.
Right.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And I had said nothing, really. Like everybody else, and as someone who was a communication advisor to Gary when he was Minister of National Security, so I know him well.
Right.
So when I speak of Gary's competence and his ability, I'm speaking firsthand. I've been in the war room. I've seen how he deals and how he manages. So there are very few people out there could defend Gary to me more than I have defended Gary to the world.
To the world, right.
That was my job. And it was my job to make sure that people understood where this strong and passionate Minister of National Security was coming from.
Right.
Gary, as Commissioner of Police, presents some conflict for me.
All right.
I'll show you what that is. If I could get into it now.
Of course you could get into it, because I see that you all have a letter that will be delivered today.
To the Speaker of the House.
To the Speaker of the House.
And one is going to the President, I think, tomorrow. And
okay.
But let's deal with the issue of this. The appointment of Gary Griffith, all of the debate and all of that that's going to happen in the Parliament, it comes down to what the Prime Minister wants. It's a government veto. If the government says, they send a list, and the government could go through that list and say, that guy, or this woman, they get in on. So the Parliament will debate to hear Rudal Monilal speak about how the opposition hasn't arrived at what their position is. It's still theater, it's circus.
That's theater, yeah.
Because it's a simple majority, and the Prime Minister has the authority to appoint Gary Griffith as Commissioner of Police.
Okay.
If the Prime Minister did not, when he was opposition leader in May 2013, or the 20th of May 2013 at 1:56 p.m., if he didn't go into the Parliament and told the nation that he's had documents for 6 months, documents that he's verified, that he's taken to the chairman of the Integrity Commission, that he's done his own investigations, that he believes to be true and fact, that Kamala Prasad Bisesa, then Prime Minister, Anand Ram Logan, then Attorney General, Suraj Rambachan, then Member of Parliament, still Member of Parliament, and Gary Griffith, who was then the National Security Advisor to Kamala Prasad Bisesa, conspired to destabilize the justice system, to scandalize and defame a journalist, to threaten her life, to conspire to commit treason and to misbehave in public office. What Keith Rowley read in the Parliament cannot be brushed aside. This is not a minor allegation.
Right.
Keith Rowley read what he said to the nation were emails from Gary Griffith at hotmail.com, Captain Gary Griffith. And he was saying, when he was speaking about Kamala and Anand, he was saying, whoever Anand might be,
and whoever Captain, he said, no, he didn't say that, he said
when
Captain.
When it was Gary Griffith,
yeah,
he was sure to say, the Captain, Gary Griffith. If you go and read, because I've had to read that entire email gate Hansard exchange, to the point where I almost know it by heart.
Okay.
To the point where I couldn't believe it was almost as if Keith Rowley had come out for Gary. And I watched this exchange because of all the back and forth between, that is alleged to have taken place between all of the other players. It is only Gary's exchanges that admits that he was doing wrong things.
Okay.
It is Gary's exchange that said, all journalists have skeletons in their closet. I will dig up, I will find she was in a madhouse, I hear her father was in jail. Don't worry. What she don't have, I go make up for she.
Right.
And I go give it to the UNC talking heads on social media to good jam she and damage she name. And then Keith Rowley said, if you were paying attention to what followed in real life, in social media for this journalist, so Keith Rowley was prosecuting a matter where he was saying that Emailgate said that Gary said he was going to destroy Denise Wren's reputation as a journalist. And then Keith Rowley said that that took place.
That it took place. It was connecting dots. It was,
that in fact took place. Now, if you stop right there, if that was the whole conversation, Keith Rowley cannot nominate and appoint Gary Griffith Commissioner of Police without addressing that.
Okay.
Because you cannot, if it was just that, but it gets a lot worse. But for the men and women of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service who are going to have to work with Gary Griffith as their boss, as their leader, A police officer's job is not like your and my job.
Right.
A police officer gets dressed every morning knowing they're going to put their lives in danger today.
Right.
That they may not
Yeah,
come
they
home.
already make up their mind for that.
They may not come home.
It comes with the job, yeah.
It comes with the job. That I may be called upon today to put my life on the line for strangers, for the country, at the behest of my boss.
Right.
And I need to know that I will follow this man. How could the person who is appointing him commissioner call him these names, ascribe these motives, make these allegations and accusations, and not address it?
Okay, but if he addresses it, where does that put him?
And that question is the most important of all. We stick up in there for a minute. Up to this year, a couple months ago, the current Attorney General, Faris Al-Rawi, is saying to the media that regardless of what Google says, regardless of what the Integrity Commission says, regardless of what the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service says, Emailgate is fact. Emailgate is true. That is what Faris is saying. Faris Al-Rawi, the Attorney General. He said that a couple weeks ago.
Right.
So he is saying that the section of Emailgate that said Annan asked Gary to wiretap the Director of Public Prosecution's office. And Gary said he have the right man in the SSA for that. Don't worry. The man who does leak, he on vacation. And I say, yeah, I send he on vacation. I tell so-and-so, send he on vacation. Fix up. And in the next exchange, Gary said, it's done. That means we are illegally wiretapping
The Director
the
of Public
Director of
Prosecution.
Public Prosecutions. Keith Rowley is saying to the nation that the then National Security Advisor to the Prime Minister, Gary Griffith, was capable of corrupting the SSA and using it
as a tool
to illegally eavesdrop on the Director of Public Prosecution. That is a criminal act of massive and heinous proportions. That is misbehaving in public office at the very least, at the bottom of the barrel. That is conspiracy to commit treason and to destabilize the justice system. You asked me a question earlier. I'm saying to Trinidad and Tobago, this has been my position from the start. And this is what the letter to the Speaker asks. That before she allows Keith Rowley to nominate and debate Gary's obvious talent, obvious ability, Keith Rowley has to say to the Parliament, because it is there he hatched Emailgate.
Correct.
And he needs to say to that same Parliament, at 1:56 p.m. on May 20th, 2013, I had cause to say some things that were not true. And I scandalized and I defamed names. And because you see, he can't remove Gary from Emailgate and Emailgate still stands.
Stands, yeah. He has to
Gary-
remove Emailgate completely.
Because Gary's exchanges in Emailgate are the strongest, most damning pillars. It is Gary's words that Keith Rowley uses to say that all of these people are going to do these things.
Yeah.
So if you remove Gary's words, if he says he not sure Gary was involved, the entire Emailgate collapses. His whole investigation that he said, that he did then, that confirmed his suspicions and he believed it to be true.
In order to bring it to the country to present it,
He believed it to be true. It paints him in a light where at the very least he's incompetent and should not have the office he holds. But at the very worst, Stefan, we may have a prime minister in office who is guilty of treason, who attempted to hijack the Parliament and overthrow a democratically elected government by trick. We just observed the anniversary of the attack on the Parliament on Friday, July 27, 1990.
That's right.
And I'm telling Trinidad and Tobago, the only difference between what took place in 1990 and 2013 is Keith Rowley didn't use a gun. Keith Rowley didn't blow up police headquarters, but he blew up national psyche. The people lost faith in all institutions. The country felt like it could collapse. I remember reading Michael Harris, who wrote, and he said, this is not a normal situation.
Right.
If this can be proven to be true, these 4 persons in serious trouble.
In serious trouble, that's right.
And if it cannot be, Keith Rowley is.
Right, but okay.
Trinidad can't go forward this morning.
Right. But you think people really concerned about that?
It have nothing to do with people, you know.
I know, but
Our
okay.
constitution is the operational contract of Trinidad and Tobago. All it
And
takes
I understand
all
that.
it takes is one person, Stefan. All it takes is you. All it takes is you and a willingness. And I am writing the speaker. And people say, but you know the speakers are PNM and them are taking that on. I say, listen, there's a process.
Right.
If this is to reach the Privy Council, because the Privy Council not PNM,
Exactly.
and the Privy Council not concerned about our internal bacchanal politics.
Correct.
They're concerned with right, wrong, and what is law.
So you're prepared to go to the Privy Council
And this is the
as
point.
far as high
And
up the
this
ladder.
is the point. We have to make sure. So I have put in the public space. I have been on every media that would allow me. It caused others, Israel Khan, Reggie Dumas, I'm hearing the police service talking now, because they're all asking questions now.
Right.
And questions that had to be asked. Even if we look to the fact that the system was flawed for Stephen Williams and for
Dulal Chan and Harold
Chan
Phillip.
and Phillip. How
Then
could
it would have been the same flawed system that Gary was
and
part of.
the entire thing is so rotten. Somebody's telling me today, he said, boy, you know, normally I'd be a stickler for due process, but
Normally they'd have been a
what he said,
stickler.
that
Yeah.
what he said, eh? You see, Trinidadians are ready.
Due process is a matter of convenience. If it's convenient to you, yes.
Stefan, when you come out here every morning and you read these things to the public, you must be wary.
Yeah.
To hear that $1,500 million in CPEP contracts missing, accounts. And I had to tell them on the radio, I was on the radio yesterday morning, I had to say, it is easy to rebuild those accounts. The only way you getting away from accounting is if maybe you burn down your whole office.
Right.
I think that happened to Wassa.
Wassa, yeah, that
Wassa
happened.
accounting
Yeah.
office twice. It burned
Twice,
twice
yeah.
in 2 weeks.
Twice.
But even that, there would have been bank records. You see, there's something called forensic accounting.
Correct.
And these people could literally rebuild everything from the ashes. We're playing smart with stupidness. And the media gives people just enough of the story to confuse them. I want Trinidadians to understand that the CPEP accounts could be rebuilt. Wassa's accounts could be rebuilt. We are not lost at sea as people think we are. We are not. But what we need to do as people is put aside the politics and get into the governance.
Right.
We're doing politics too much. We're doing too much politics.
Well, I think if anybody looking at that situation with the nomination today, you see, herein lies the problem, right? We could open the phone lines now, and we could ask people if Gary Griffith is the man for the job.
But that's not the question
And
to ask.
I know, but 100 out of 100 people will probably say yes.
But let me be the first
Right.
to say that if anybody deserves a chance at being commissioner of police, that if anybody has a real opportunity to get the job done, it is Gary
It's Gary Griffith.
But I am saying there is a Mount Everest, there is a Himalayas,
And I agree with you.
There's a Grand Canyon between the nomination and the appointment, because the person to do it has to retract Emailgate.
Right.
You cannot come to the parliament and nominate for commissioner of police the man that
You accused, yeah.
I don't want to use the word you, unstressed.
Yeah.
Only you.
Yeah.
Nobody else in the country.
It's not as if he was part of the opposition and somebody else presented the matter and he was there. He's the person that...
Stefan, this wasn't a national conversation of maybe about Gary.
Right,
no.
this is something that he brought to the parliament.
And only.
Right.
And he has been prosecuting it for 5 years. Faris Al-Rawi told the nation, even if they throw out the case, focus on the substance of the case.
Yeah,
what
I remember when Faris said that.
saying is that Gary is capable of these things.
Yeah.
And I don't understand my friend Gary Griffith, you know. Because my friend Gary Griffith will go and sit down in trotters and drink beers with this man, Faris Al-Rawi, and these people in the PNM. And I tell Gary, these people are riding you like a donkey and you're not seeing it, you know. And they're going to use you to their best convenience. And that's what's going on now. Because we misdirected this morning. I want to ask you, when you spoke about the CPEP issue today, is the fraud squad involved?
Well, Ashton Ford is saying this is a matter for the Trinidad and Tobago police to investigate, but fraud squad's supposed to be present.
Who gives the instruction? Why the police service they have a responsibility under the Constitution, not to Ashton Ford.
Right, correct.
To the nation of Trinidad and Tobago. Right now, 1,500 million treasury dollars missing. There's a police matter. All you step back. Mr. Ford, step back. You are now a material witness. Step back.
But you see,
we have the interest now, evidence.
But that's the next thing, because when I play the second clip, and there's a problem, I'm not sure if Ashton Ford is speaking as the man that running CPEP or speaking as a member of a political party. Because you see, there has to be a separation there has to be a separation
Stephen,
there.
What I know, I want to tell you this. If there is the most base commission of inquiry into the operation of CPEP since it was created, plenty former MPs, government ministers, and business people in this country would have to go to jail.
Of course.
CPEP comes across to the public like these young people and these people who need work, who are underemployable, who are outside there doing the CPEP work. It comes across, it is sold to the public that it is for them.
Right.
But they get the pennies. The people who get the pounds are the owners of the CPEP contracts. It was set up in a way where it could fool the people. It's like what Kiss Baking Company does with these little people who go into hardship and difficulty. Because when you need to feed your family, you take it any job.
Of course.
So you take these people and you put them on the side of the road selling Kiss bread illegally. I have written every regional corporation in Trinidad and Tobago asking, does Kiss have permission?
Right.
Nobody respond. So we sent out freedom of information requests. As I was just trying to tell you, there's a process.
Right.
So we sent out freedom of information requests, and now they have to respond.
They have to respond.
6 out of 16 have responded so far. Kiss Baking Company has no permission. They have no agreement. They are vending illegally.
Okay.
So that means Kiss is putting these young people at risk. And that the police service now has to take action against Kiss Baking Company. And that is the point I want to make to you. When you have a CPEP that comes across, like how Kiss comes across, like this is to help entrepreneurs. It's not to help entrepreneurs. It's to take advantage of people for profit. Government ministers, wives of MPs have had CPEP contracts.
Of course, we know this.
There is a financier whose wife got the contracts to mow HDC lawns. Now, if you have something like, an HDC lawn to mow, wouldn't it be counterintuitive to give it to the people most in need?
Of course.
Not people from Goodwood Park, Sinclair, and Fairways. We're playing the fool.
Well, of course, that's only obvious.
But, Stephen,
we know it don't work
Stephen, we're playing the fool. And we're not, instead of calling this morning for a proper inquiry into the operation of CPEP, we're getting distracted by who is allowed to say what, and it should never be this.
Yeah.
But our police service, and it comes right back to this, Stephen Williams has been disrespected as Commissioner of Police.
Okay.
If you're good enough to act 13 times.
You're good enough to be Commissioner of Police?
And let's say that again. If you're good enough to act 13 times, think about that for a minute. At the mismanagement of this country, at a level where you could have a man like Stephen Williams, who every government has continued his acting stint, but no government has ratified him in the position. So what you're saying to the people of Trinidad and Tobago is, he is your commissioner, but we don't trust him.
We don't trust him. Yeah.
And that is insanity.
Yeah. But I think that whole situation with the Commissioner of Police, because we are just about out of time, but just to go back to this point with Gary Griffith, and just real quickly, if you could, what about the Police Social and Welfare Association position on Gary Griffith's appointment, potential appointment?
You see, the media is spinning this and is trying to create this platform from which we forget the issues and focus on Gary. But the police service are going to have concerns as well. And we've never treated with the police service as it should have been treated with. governments come and governments go, and they refer to the police as criminal and they refer to the police as rogue. I just told you the Constitution is the contract that operates the country.
Yeah.
The police service is a function of that contract. The Parliament could sit today and fix the police service today, you know.
Right.
In 4 hours. We are part of a commonwealth. There are police services that work in Britain, in Canada, in New Zealand, in Australia. In India, we could go and find a system that works for them and copy and paste it in our 1981 square miles. We've never wanted to properly run this country. It is in the best interest of a lot of people behind the scenes and pulling the strings of these politicians in both parties to keep the police service hobbled and broken. And that's what's going on. And until the people of Trinidad and Tobago understand that we are being defeated by a political machination operating every time there is an election. If you and I and all the other awoke and civic-minded people who put life and limb at risk to come and bring this message every day and say, listen, if we stand together as one people, our constitution works.
Right.
What needs fixing could be fixed. Everything in Trinidad and Tobago could fix, and we could be one of the wealthiest, happiest nations in the world. But for 2 political parties that front an oligarchy that is running away like the dish and the spoon. That's our truth.
I like how you term that. I like how you term that.
But today I am going to the Speaker of the House again to let her know that even if she doesn't know her job, I know her job.
Right.
She is guilty right now. She is guilty on the Maxi Coffee matter.
Yeah, Maxi Coffee, yeah.
Having the former PSA leader posing with him, he's alive.
Yeah.
God bless him.
Right.
But he will never be able to function as a member of parliament again, and they all know that, and they trick in the nation. A stroke is a serious thing. If they put Maxi Coffee back in that parliament, they'll kill him. Yeah. That's the truth.
Yeah, I've mentioned that on many occasions.
If Patrick Manning had retired, he'd be alive. Yeah. Patrick Manning killed himself holding on to politics. A stroke is a debilitating thing. You know that.
I know that.
And this man has had 2.
Yeah.
So
he's not in a position to hold any kind of...
The Speaker of the House, regardless of where her political roots were, she's an officer of the court.
That's right.
She serves the highest office in the land. She should have requested publicly his sick leave and his fit for work certificates and made a judgment. Right. And said, calling the Prime Minister and the opposition leader and say, listen, based on facts before me, Maxi Coffee cannot continue. We, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, have to understand our role in this conversation now. We have to escalate. It doesn't have to be burnt tires, you know. You have to know that you could write a letter to the Commissioner of Police and the Chairman of the Integrity Commission, and you could write a letter to the different office holders, and as a citizen demand that they do their job, and they know that that letter is a precursor to a court matter, because a judge could ask, were you informed of this by correspondence?
Correct.
Yes, Your Honor. And that's where we need to go as a people. If we don't wake up and stand up, this country, we're heading for a crisis. We need to fix it.
All right. So that is Philip Alexander, Philip Edward Alexander, and not retired from politics, still with the PEP. And they have an interim leader right now that is Felicia Wooler, and they will be
she's
delivering...
doing a marvelous job.
Felicia's a good one. Felicia's a good one.
She's a giant. She's a diminutive giant. She has so much ability and talent. Trinidad yet to see what this young lady is capable of. Keep an eye on that space.
She's a terrific individual, brilliant young lady, and she should have a lot of great things in the political sphere
future ahead of
in the future. Right. So we got to take a break. We got to wrap things up with Philip, but we'll see how things go with the nomination with Gary Griffith. We'll see if the matter is addressed with email gate and the Prime Minister possibly retracting those statements that were made in Parliament in May of 2013.
If he does retract, then the Director of Public Prosecutions has a responsibility to the nation to instruct the Commissioner of Police to charge him. But that's another story.
That's another story.
Thanks a lot for having me.
Thanks a lot, Philip. Stay tuned, people. Coming up after the break, General Manager of Synergy TV is here, Mr. O'Brien Haynes. And immediately following the break, we're going to launch the Adopt a Student campaign. You all stay tuned for that. We'll be back after this.